Hello and welcome. You have tuned into the Motown Show right here on ET Now. I'm Shruti Sharma and this is the show where we tell you all that is happening within the Indian automobile space. So let's get started, and firstly, let's have a look at the key headlines of the week gone by. First off, with respect to the sales, and EV momentum remains strong, with April retail trends showing steady growth across the segments. Now, two-wheelers are up over 10%, while the passenger vehicles rise was nearly 7% on a YY basis. But in terms of the EV growth, Tamil Nadu as a state stands out with record EV registrations, highlighting strong state-level adoption. While penetration cooled slightly on a month-on-month basis, the broader growth trajectory remains intact, supported by demand and policy push. And the government is stepping up its ethanol blending roadmap beyond the current E20 target, with discussions around higher blends like E85 gaining traction. Now, the move aims to reduce crude dependence and boost the agri-economy. However, scaling the infrastructure, vehicle compatibility and supply chain readiness remain key challenges going ahead. And Mercedes-Benz India has launched the all-new electric CLA, marking a key push in the luxury EV space. The highlight is limited run, launch edition variant positioned at a premium alongside standard trims. Now, the move underscores Mercedes' strategy to scale EV adoption with premium offerings and exclusive editions. And Tesla has expanded its India portfolio with the launch of Model Y long wheelbase variant priced at 61.99 lakh rupees ex-showroom. Now, the new version gets a 3-row, 6-seat layout aimed at premium family buyers, along with higher range of up to 681 kilometers. With bookings now open and deliveries expected from June, Tesla is whitening its play, but high pricing continues to keep it a niche offering. And let's talk about some of the launches in the two-wheeler space. And Classic Legends is ramping up its portfolio with new launches, including updated Yeti, Scrambler and special editions like the Roadster, Red Wolf, signaling aggressive ambitions going ahead. Now, alongside its Greaves electric mobility as well, that has launched Ampere Magnus Neo at around 87,000 rupees, targeting the mass EV scooter segment with affordability and scale. And let's talk about some of the earnings then. And Maruti Suzuki's Q4 performance remained largely in line, but the real highlight is its optimistic outlook. The company guided for a double-digit growth in FY27, 10% to be precise, backed by strong demand, SUV launches and improving entry-level traction, wherein EV plans are also gaining momentum, though near-term margins remain sensitive to commodity cost. All right, but for this, viewers, let's move on and let's get you the global story of the week. And this time we are talking about the shift in the electric vehicle space, because the global electric vehicle story is now entering a new phase, and it's no longer just about growth or competition, but increasingly about policy and geopolitics. Because in a significant development, China has said that it has reached what is called a soft landing with the European Union over the ongoing dispute on electric vehicle tariffs. Now, this signals a possible easing of the tensions between two of the world's largest and most influential auto markets. Now, to understand this better, this dispute actually began back in 2024, when the European Union imposed additional tariffs on electric vehicles imported from China. Now, the concern was that Chinese automakers were benefiting from heavy state subsidies and were undercutting the European players with aggressive pricing. And that move has raised fears of a full-blown EV trade war. But the latest commentary from China's Commerce Minister suggests that both sides are now moving towards a middle ground. Discussions with European auto industry stakeholders appear to have resulted in a more balanced approach, what China describing as soft landing. So what does the new model look like? Instead of removing the tariffs entirely, a more nuanced framework is emerging, and under this, Chinese EV makers could get certain tariff relaxations, but only if they meet specific conditions. Now, these may include maintaining minimum pricing levels and adhering to the volume caps while exporting into Europe as well. But in simple terms, this creates a controlled entry into the market, allowing competition but preventing the extreme price disruption. For the global auto industry, this is a very important shift because Chinese automakers continue to retain access to a key international market, while European players get a degree of protection against a sharp price competition. At the same time, China has also indicated openness to deeper collaboration, including joint innovation efforts with European automakers, and that suggests that the future may not be purely competitive but also collaborative. So from a consumer standpoint, the impact is more balanced. While the buyers will continue to have access to advanced and competitively built Chinese EVs, prices may not fall sharply because these minimum pricing rules supply could also be moderated due to the volume controls. But the bigger takeaway here is structural. The global EV market is clearly moving from a completely free trade towards what can be called managed trade. Now, the governments are stepping into not just to regulate, but to actively shape how competition plays out. And this is not very different from what we are already seeing in the markets like India, where high import duties and localization policies are designed to strike a balance between protecting domestic industry and allowing global participation. So the bottom line is that this is not the end of the global EV tensions, but a shift of how they are being handled. From outright tariffs to negotiated frameworks, the EV race is now as much about diplomacy and policy as it is about technology and scale. And going ahead, this model could very well become the template of how global EV trade evolves. Hello and welcome to the Motown Show right here on ET Now. I'm Shruti Sharma, and today onto the show we're going to be talking with a brand which is often called the Ferrari of motorcycles in India. And I'm talking about Ducati India, which in India itself has defined itself as not just being one of the super biking brands, but is trying to build a lot more in terms of culture, and they have India expansion plans as well. So let's understand that all of in detail, and we are being joined by Mr. Bipul Chandra, who is the MD of Ducati India, joining us on the show. Hi, very good morning, Mr. Chandra, and thank you so much for your time. So good having you on the channel today. And firstly, I wanted to understand about your India strategy, because globally for Ducati, we have seen the boundaries that are set to focus on value or volumes. But India being a price-sensitive market, and Ducati has been doing fairly well in the Indian markets, help us understand that what's in store for the India strategy going ahead, and what will be your key priorities?
See, Ducati's philosophy globally is very clear. It has to be value over volumes. We are definitely not chasing volumes like a mad rush. We want to give our riders the best of the bikes in terms of the design, in terms of the technology, in terms of the current riding features, everything. So it is rooted in the philosophy of Ducati. We never ever chase volumes, and that's why globally, if you look at, or in India also, you look at, Ducati remains a niche player, and we are happy with that thing. So we are niche, but we are very premium kind of thing. And the best thing is Ducati invests so much time, money, effort, everything into giving the newest possible tech to our riders. So if you look very closely, there are so many riding techs which have been actually started for the first time by Ducati itself across the years. So over the years, if you look at right from 90s, 80s, 90s, even today, so many things are where Ducati has taken the lead across our competitors, and we have given them to our riders to experience and make the ride much more enjoyable and make them a better rider. So that's very clear. We always go for best of the things possible, which means the value, the top end, not the volume.
All right, but Mr. Chandra, you will agree that biking culture in India is still evolving. Give us some sense that what role Ducati is playing to build on to that culture, and how do you see the transition from an aspirational buying for a brand like Ducati to being a more community-driven biking culture in India? What is your sense?
It is very heartening to see that people are actually taking a big biking in a very serious manner. People are spending time and money into buying better bikes, into equipping themselves with better riding gears and accessories, everything. So that's very nice to understand and be there in the thick of the action, because we do that day in and day out. Also, earlier, if I have to say, I have to put it in a very poetic way. Everyone who was buying a big bike used to say that I have a super bike with me. That was the definition of a big bike, just a super bike. Wherein now people say that, well, I have a Panigale for my track riding, I have a Multistrada for my adventure riding or a long distance riding, so on and so forth. That very clearly defines that people are actually moving from just a milestone kind of thing, that I own a super bike, to a lifestyle kind of thing, wherein they are saying that, well, I have this particular bike for this particular riding style. And that's where we are seeing huge growth potential actually.
All right, that's an interesting point, Mr. Chandra, that people are now defining the identity. But give us some sense that what are your plans to expand more, and especially within the tier 2 cities, because I believe for now there are just a handful of dealerships. So what are your thoughts on the same, and what is the right balance between the reach and versus still having that premium positioning for the brand?
Well, India is a very big country, so it is very difficult for a premium or a niche player like Ducati to remain present across the length and width of the country. Just not possible. So, as the first step, we had planned to cover the metros. Currently, we have 9 dealerships. So, almost all the metros like Delhi, Bombay, Pune, Hyderabad, whatever we think of, we are present. Then we have 2 service centers also, dedicated Ducati authorized service centers, one in Goa and another in Ahmedabad, wherein we see that there is certain population to support the service center, and then there can be a business case further later on to support a full-fledged dealership. And we keep on looking at or evaluating this kind of white space where we can have a much more or additional service center or a dealership. So currently we have certain locations in mind on which we are working. Tier 2, as you said, is definitely very, very strong contender. And we have seen that, or rather, I would say specifically for Ducati, that having been in the country for more than 10 years now, and having been in the present in the tier 1 cities, as I said, tier 2 are definitely the potential areas where we are looking at very positively. And we will start at some of the tier 2 cities with a workshop or a dealership, as the case may be. Since it's an internal strategy, so I cannot divulge the names at this moment. Well, yes, your point is very valid. And nevertheless, we have been selling bikes to the tier 2 riders as well. So we understand the kind of potential tier 2 cities hold for us, and we are with them. So this is how we plan to extend the pleasure of riding a Ducati to all the people in the country.
But along with that, what are your plans to make some new launches? Because I believe that 2026 is going to be a yet again interesting year for Ducati. Give us some more sense.
26 has been a milestone year for Ducati, I would say, Ducati India, because we launched this bike at a global platform in 25, but we launched the bike in 26 here in India. And that's the Cross 450 MX. So that's a segment which has been, which Ducati has entered for the very, very first time. We have never been into this kind of segment. And what an amazing result we have got. Last year, when we presented this bike to the global people, the reception was amazing, and we started winning some podiums as well across various races. Here in India also, the response has been very, very good, very positive. People are talking or they are giving rave reviews to our bikes after test rides and everything. And we have also started selling the bike. So that is something which we are very extremely proud of, because this is a very new segment. Ducati entered for the very first time. And I would love to say that we have hit the nail right on the head. Very first time, we have given a wonderful bike to our riders. So this is one end of the spectrum. And across also, if you would see, we have got multiple launches this year. For example, we shall be launching the new generation Monster. That's a fifth generation Monster, if I'm not wrong. Monster is a pretty old brand for us, and a mainstay of our sales. So 93 was the year when Monster was introduced to the world, and it was a milestone bike in its own right, because the world has never seen anything like that. It was the very first bike which was like a naked bike, and since then, this bike has won uh, amazing reviews, great sales potential, everything. And now in 2026, we shall be launching the fifth generation of the bike. So this is one thing. Then we shall be launching Hypermotard. We shall be launching Desert X. So all these things are in the line, which from, let us say, uh, if I have to say it from today itself. So from today till 31st December, we shall be launching these bikes. And in between, we shall also be delivering some one-off kind of bikes. So we have a Panigale Lamborghini, Panigale V4 Lamborghini. We have a Marc Marquez edition. So then we'll be having another Pecco Banayan Marquez edition. So there will be certain limited edition bikes which we shall be launching within this year. So we are on a roll, I would say, and very happy to be in a position to launch all these bikes for our discerning riders.
Well, Mr. Chandra, let's talk about the industry as well, because in the latest, it's higher tax that has been imposed on superbike like yours with the GST rate rationalization. How has that impacted the demand? Has it dented that in any way? And how do you see this decision?
Well, as a seller, that's a very sad situation to be in, because this is something which I think could have been handled in a much better way. See, I cannot make a comment on the policies of the government, but I think as an OEM, I have got my own voice to talk about and my own thoughts to talk about. So the government should have helped us by keeping the GST across the two-wheeler segment at 18%. The volume of big bikes in India is very, very small. Uh, in fact, it is very difficult to count the zeros after the decimal. As a reference, let me give you the data. Last year, the financial year which has just ended, we had a two-wheeler market of about 2.25 crore two-wheelers. Okay. And the bike bigger than 500cc, the segment I am into, in fact, I am into 800 plus cc segment, but well, let's take it 500 plus cc. So the bike volume in the 500 plus cc segment would not be more than 7,000 bikes. So now you divide 7,000 by 2.25 crores and get the percentage contribution of our industry. So for such a small bike, and even if we consider 350cc and beyond, I don't think the contribution is more than 2%. 2%, 2.5%, 1.75%, something of that nature. So if the government for such a small volume would have supported us by actually lowering down the GST, probably it would have helped us to garner much higher volumes and hence probably give much more GST collection in terms of absolute value to the government, rather than today, wherein the GST collection is higher in terms of absolute percentage point. Obviously, I don't know how much GST is collected from our segment, so I cannot comment on that. But this is my feeling that we could have done more volume.
And lastly, Mr. Chandra, just wanted to have a thought from you on EVs, because I know that for a brand like yours, which has a lot of power, the engines are heavy, EVs won't be that viable at this point in time. But more and more bike brands, or rather motorcycle brands, are now transitioning towards EV. So what is Ducati's thought on the electrification side, not just for India, but globally? How are they looking at this segment?
See, I will answer this question in two parts, or there will be two intertwined thoughts. First of all, Ducati as a company is always on the forefront of technology. So we keep on trying on the things which are still not done. We are not afraid of new things. So you would have seen till 26, Ducati was the only supplier for Moto e-bikes in the MotoGP ecosystem. So we have already made an electric bike in this space. However, the viable technology for a commercial application is still elusive. We still don't have a very viable technology wherein a rider can have a, let us say, a multistrada and ride from here to Spiti, Leh, Ladakh, anywhere on a electric bike. Probably because a bike does not have that much kind of space available for such a big battery pack, which a car definitely offers. Or probably there is an infra situation. You don't have those many charging points from here to Leh Ladakh kind of thing. So these things are probably, and this is the situation I would say across the world, because technology limitations are across the world. It is not for Ducati India. It is across the world, and I believe across all companies. So that's a challenge. Again, we need to be very proactive. So as a company, we are already working on these things. I'm not exactly privy to the current development, but I'm sure we are part of a very big auto giant VW group. So there would be a group synergy working on these lines, and there would be something being done. But it will take time.
All right, Mr. Chandra, with this we let you go. So good having you on the channel today. Thank you so much for your time and looking forward to more. Hello and welcome. You have tuned into the Motown Show on ET Now. I'm Shruti Sharma and this is the time to reveal the car of the week. And today we're going to be driving BMW X3 a car that has always been great, but this car now is a bit upgraded in terms of sharper dynamics, more power and lot more new features. So let's go across and check that out. Outside changes are subtle but effective. You get BMW's Sport Pro package, sportier bumpers, gloss black detailing and adaptive LED headlamps. The 20-inch wheels and red brake calipers add to the sporty appeal. It's not loud, but it looks sharp, clean and premium. Now inside the BMW, you get very nice upgrades in terms of the dashboard as well as the door panel. It looks more premium right now, and there are so many new tech features that the company has now added in this particular car, and let's check that out. You also get a curved display setup with a 12.3-inch instrument cluster and a 14.9-inch infotainment screen. It's modern, tech-loaded and very driver-focused, and even the ADAS will make you feel that the car is driving with you. But the biggest change is under the hood. This 2-liter turbo petrol engine creating 258 of horsepower and 400 Nm of torque, and that is indeed powerful on roads. And that's a significant jump, and now right in line with the rivals like Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. It also gets a 48-volt of mild hybrid system for smoother and quick responses. And out on the road, you can feel it. The X3 feels quicker, more responsive and far more confident, especially in the mid-range. 0 to 100 in just about 6 seconds. Add to that wider tires and BMW's X-Drive system, and the grip levels are impressive. And this is where X3 really stands out. It's quick but also very easy to drive fast. There's a slight trade-off. The ride is a bit firmer and the bigger wheels. But in comfort mode, it works well for everyday use. You also get good space and a 570-litre boot. Some standout features include a heads-up display, 360-degree of camera, ambient lighting, and BMW's intuitive iDrive system. It's a well-rounded mix of tech, comfort, and performance. So what truly matters is more power, better performance, and it actually gets its basics right. And that's what makes BMW X3 stand out. And you were watching all of these on the Motown Show.